Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. I'm Scott.
And I'm Carl.
And how's it going today, Carl?
Oh, it's great. It's a good day. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. What can you say? Yep. It's rainy though, but that cools things off. So it's all good. How are things with you?
Good. And it is thunderstorming, and the dog is getting all panicky and stuff. So I had to give him a little calming medicine.
Yeah.
For dogs, it's treatment for dogs, but it'll just keep them calm down, prevent them from jumping through any screen doors or anything like that.
Yeah, our poor cat. Of course, you're a dog person, and of course, I'm a cat person. Just saying.
Of course.
Our cat goes and hides now when it thunderstorms, so we can kind of tell when they're on the way because he'll go and hide early.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the one dog is a big dog.
Yeah.
And the other one is a little dog, and the little dog is like fine. Like,
yeah. He's like, what?
There's no fear about anything with that little dog. She even takes on the big dog. The big dog's a big suck. Like it'll bark at strangers and stuff like that, but honestly, it would never. Well, unless you're a burglar, then take this warning that it'll tear you apart. But but otherwise, if you're not a burglar, you're no. It will. I don't think it would bite anyone. It's so gentle. Like you feed it, and it just so softly closes. And it's a big dog. You know what I mean? The little dog, it'll rip your arm off to get that little piece of cookie.
Yeah, I know, right? They don't know. The little dogs don't know. They have no idea that they're a small dog, I think.
They have no idea they're small dogs. It's hilarious. It really is. But no, anyway, so everything's good. We got a storm going through now. You might hear some thunder in the background now and then, but yeah, and everything's going good. The booth is going good. We had a bit of a slower weekend, which is about a normal weekend. I had a couple of big sales that kind of pushed it up there. And then Monday, which we're usually closed, but for this July and August, we're going to be open every Monday. It was a great day. It was a huge day for a Monday.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. I'm thinking the weekend because everybody's gone camping. They just got a lot more to do. We're in the middle of, we're at the end of July. So I'm thinking, well, July is normally slow, so I should expect a bit of a slowdown compared to what it's been, which does not mean it was bad. It just means it was kind of normalish.
Yeah.
Because every weekend's been super. And then it just kind of had a little bit of a weaker compared to the last little bit. Anyway, and then Monday was just like on fire. Sorts of military helmets, like for over $100, and just it was just like I just can't figure it out. Like as soon as you think everything's gonna go for a shit, it's just like wow. So anyway,
it's nice when you pay for your booths in one weekend kind of thing, and then you're like, okay, done. I'm sure, at least.
Yeah, I can't figure out, but I'm starting to list a lot more on eBay, and I had some good sales there.
Yeah.
And if you go on Scott's Sell Stuff on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll talk a little bit about the sales. We talk about what we found, but now we're starting to add a little bit of what we sold too. So I'll mention some of that stuff there.
Yeah, so that's a great addition. I like that.
You do, eh? Like, I wasn't sure how to do that because I like show and tell. Like, it's just show and tell. This is what I found. Yeah. But when it comes to solds, like, I just don't want to say one thing because everybody says, well, you're not really selling anything. So I want to show a couple things, but then I don't want to come across as like, hey, look at me. I'm selling all this shit. I'm bragging.
Dude, there's no bragging. If you're going to watch a show about finding great stuff and great sales, it's not bragging. It's just,
you know what I mean, though, right? Like
what we don't talk about is like the $5 sales we do. I sold a beer cozy for $5. I'm not going to bring that up, but who wants to see that anyways?
No,
right?
I hear you. So I do try to keep it around the $100+ mark, but there was a couple of neat interesting things that I got around the $50 mark for, so I threw them in there too. But going forward, we're just going to start doing some of the things that we sold too. I I'm prepared now to start doing a 5 day, 5 shows, 5 shows a week over 5 days of the 7. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but anyways, 5 days a week. I'm going to add some shows. I know I've said that in the past, but I've kind of got the format. I've got the area cleared up, and I'm ready to start doing that now. So I want to see if I can grow that channel. I really do. I want to put a good effort into it.
Yeah.
Not counting the Sunday nights. The Sunday nights is just kind of a bonus thing, but really grow the channel with some pre-recorded material.
Yeah, that's what, honestly, the lives don't. It's strange. Like, I'm really into YouTube lives. It's like, it's my favorite thing. But really what brings in a lot of viewers is the, evergreen videos of reselling.
Yeah. Well, they've said that from the beginning, but honestly, those pre-recorded shows are a time suck, right? So I had to come up with some sort of formula that worked for me, in the fact that it's not taking away from a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And I think I have a system here where I can do it's going to be an informative kind of entertainment show. And I think it'll work. I'm hoping it'll work. But at the same time, it's not this huge time suck that's going to take half a day to edit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think within an hour, I can have the show done, and then start uploading it and put it together. So if I have to take an hour in a day to do that, I'm fine. I'm okay with that. But I can't do 2 or 3 hours a day in editing and filmmaking and all this kind of stuff, because I should be doing those couple extra hours. I should be putting into listing.
It's a lot of work, I have my channel, but I don't really do any content because it's just so much work. I'd rather go on other people's channels and they can do the work for me. It's great.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. But so going out there finding stuff, I found this week, like, it's really hit and miss. Like, I'm hoping this Saturday. And first, I'm going to stop here because I was listening to the show, and I want to apologize to Dawn, who I didn't tell at the end about where that yard sale thing is.
Never, ever, ever apologize to Dawn. Okay, let's just get that rule straight out.
Listen,
go ahead.
She wrote more comments in one episode than I think all the comments combined since we started. But so we have to give her credit where credit is due. Now, I'm going to apologize for the fact that I said at the end of the show I will post the yard sale thing. So what I'm going to do, Don, is I'm going to put a link to this website that I use to find out where the yard sales are. And I'm only going to do it once because I don't want everybody going to the yard sales. But I'll do it once for Dawn, and then that's it. So, because she doesn't live too far away. She lives about an hour away.
Yeah.
So she'll be able to check out where the yard sales are, because I talk about a ton of yard sales. So I'm going to give this one, and Dawn, I'm going to say keep it a secret because you're only going to hurt yourself, right? But I'll do that once just because Dawn's a loyal listener, and I appreciate that. So, no, Carl, you disagree?
No. I love Dawn. She's a good friend. I actually she actually asked for my calculator, my Excel calculator, for bidding. So I sent that off to her.
Oh,
yeah,
that's it. That's interesting.
So something rare happened to me this weekend. I went to garage sales.
Really?
I know. I was like, okay, I'm actually up, and it's like, screw going at 7. I'll leave at 7:30 or 8 and be happy with that. Because I was getting frustrated because I would drive around and they weren't set up yet. And I know that's when you get the new stuff, but I just found it I'm not going to hang around waiting for them to bring their stuff out. I'm just happier at 8. And the problem was there was no community garage sales last weekend. And it's like, I hate randomly driving around, but I'm going to do it because I'm up. And I did pick up a few things. I bought my first box of records. There's about 50 or 60 records, more than 50.
Yeah.
And they're asking $1 a piece. And that's good. And I said, what if I buy the entire box?
Nice.
So I got them for $25. So
beauty. Yeah.
50 cents a record. Now, it's not all country. It's not country. It's not country, but it is mediocre. There might be one or two special ones, but it's not like it's full of rock or anything like that. It's a mix, and that's like, well, this is gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna just buy. I'm gonna spend the whole $25, get these records, and learn a little bit about records.
Yeah,
and I figure for 50 cents a piece, even if I only sell them for $1 or $2 each, then it'll be okay. What else? I picked up some coins, and I picked up some. Well, what I'm doing now is I have a couple of shelves, and it was kind of like I was going to bring this up anyway, so might as well get into it now. So what I'm doing is gearing up towards getting a flea market booth, right?
Yes.
And what I've been doing is I got all. No one's going to see this, but I've been getting like all these like stickers from for garage sales that have the numbers on them. It's kind of tacky, really, but it's because I wanted to price the stuff before I take it to a flea market, and I can do that while waiting to get a booth.
Yeah.
This flea market, it has outdoor and indoor, but really it's the indoor one I'm kind of interested in because you get to keep your stuff there, right? And I want to price my stuff before I even get the booth because I can do that easy. And the records are a perfect example of something I can price. And it's like, okay, well, if I buy these for 50 cents, selling them for like $1 or $2 each is fine because it's like there's no work. I'm not doing anything. And, you know, since I've decided that I will be doing this, it's been so opening in terms of what I can buy. Because, like, for example, I bought all these tarot card decks, and they sell for about 10 to 15 American online. I would never get those because if I tried to sell them online for that, I'd actually lose money.
Yeah.
But I can pick them up for like $3 or $4 each and sell them for about 10 to 15. I think I'm just asking 10. So just $5, right? Not a big deal. But I can, and I probably wouldn't go much lower than that. But it's kind of like the stuff I can get for a flea market.
Right.
Not an antique market. But you know what the funniest thing is? I got rejected for getting on the waiting list for Antique Mall. They said, no, we're not interested. I couldn't believe it. Just get on the waiting list. And they said it's because they're not looking for, they're looking for specialists. They weren't looking for generalists.
Right.
And I think I'm much more interested in being a generalist. Not in terms of antique generalist. I'm talking about like I will happily sell things like, I don't know, like your soles there, like the shoe soles, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like maybe a lower value version of those, right? Like those don't really belong in an antique booth. But in a flea market, that's perfectly fine, right? Or brand new whatever in the flea market will do well. So it's been very opening in terms of buying more and more stuff. But now I'm starting to get surrounded by more and more crap. But the other good thing too is that I've been going through my old inventory going, oh, this is like annoying because I still kept it, this stuff. But for a flea market, it actually, I can just put all the stuff in a box and say $1 each and I'm good to go. Like I have a bunch of Avon jewelry I've been holding on to freaking forever. I got cheap, but they're so cheap I can't sell online. But you know what? I can put that in a little bin and say you get 3 for $1 or whatever, and I'll make money off of that. It's like, and no work, which is I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only talking. You probably already know this, but I'll just say, from my experiences and stuff like that, the cheaper stuff like that, like pins and different things like that, just as long as they're not taking up a lot of space, because you're paying rent for that space, and you can put something more valuable in that space. But at the same time, like if you can put that into a basket or some sort of a container, beauty. That is 100% what I do for sure, and it works, right? VHS, DVDs, dude, CDs and DVDs are crazy. Like you'll sell those all the time. So when you can go out to a yard sale and you see CDs, like you don't even have to check them. You just look and they're rock, they're good CD stuff. And they'll be like 30 or 50 in a box or something like that. Just offer them $20. And you go to the store and you're going to put $5 a piece on them at your market or $3 a piece, whatever. I put $5 in the booth. That that's what I would suggest, is around between, $4 to $5. You might find a diamond in the rough too that you put online, right? But dude, those things, people will come and buy like 10 at a time. You know what I mean?
And that's the stuff I'm actually kind of interested in. Well, don't get me wrong, I like the valuable stuff too, right? Like,
yeah,
I found just as a little boast, I found Cutco new in box this last week. And these little steak knives, each one sells for $50 American. Yeah. And I got 4 of them for like $3.99. Like,
wow,
that's crazy. That will not be going. That'll be going on. Well, it's already online actually.
Yeah, that's right? An online.
But like, I also like the other end stuff, like, because I have a lot of things, just like you mentioned, like pins. So what I just did was, like, I had a whole bunch of audio tape cassettes, like new, like not recorded, blanks, and like they're too cheap to sell online. But out of the booth, I can get $2 to $5 for each one, right?
Yeah,
then it's worth it. And they're heavy, heavy, so they're bad for shipping. So it's like, oh, this is. So I've been doing a lot of that. So I actually have some questions for you.
Okay.
So for flea market pricing, what I've been doing is basically taking the Canadian price of what things sell for. Like, say it sells for, like, I don't know, I'm going to make it up something, $10 American online, plus shipping. I'll sell it for $10 Canadian in the flea market. I just guess, because I have to guess, because I don't really know my pricing.
Flea market, you have to know your clientele, right? Like, you'll know what they're, and the beauty is they can negotiate. Listen, if I buy 10, can I get them for half price? You can make up. If you got $10 in 100 CDs or 50 CDs, and they want to offer you $20 for 10 of them, if you got them for $4 a piece, who cares? You got 40 left, and you've already made your money back. You know what I mean? I kind of accept that kind of stuff, and you just keep pushing it out, because it's all about pushing out volume, right? So, and then they keep coming back. Oh, Carl was great. He worked with me the other day, and they keep coming back. It's not like eBay where they don't come back. So your pricing is going to be a little bit different strategy. It all depends on what it is. There's going to be some things that you can ask for more money there at the booth, because it's kind of your, oh, that looks really cool, in their impulse buying. You know what I mean?
Also, they don't have to pay for shipping.
And they don't have to pay for shipping. And
so that's what makes it a little confusing. Like, say something sells for $15 Canadian online plus $10 shipping, really selling kind of like for $25 if you look at it that way. To get that thing into that person's hand at home, it costs them $25.
Right.
Where the flea market, they obviously don't pay for the shipping. So where online you might have sold it for $15 plus $10 shipping, I wonder if you can get like $20 with no shipping, because it's still cheaper for them. But I you know what I'm going to do? Because, like, I'm not talking about antique booths. I keep saying that, I know. But a flea market's quite different. Is I'm going to go down there and I'm going to snoop and get inspiration from the other booths while I'm there.
Yeah.
Because I need to get it, because I don't mind like repricing stuff, but it is a lot of time just to waste. Because if I go in there and I'm trying to get like $10 for my audio tapes, and really they're going for $6, I kind of want to know that before I do like 100 of them, although it's too late for the tapes. But you know what I mean? I have a lot of stuff like that. So it's been very liberating anyways, even going through my old inventory where stuff I would have thrown out or didn't know what to do with, like, oh, I can just put a cheap price on there and burn it out and see how it goes.
And once you get a vibe for what sells, and that'll happen relatively quickly. If you're there every Sunday, within 2 months, you're going to really know who's coming in and what they're buying. So now you're going to start seeing clothing at yard sales. You're going to start seeing clothing at thrift stores. You're going to, like, certain clothings, not everything, but you're going to see like something with a catchy vibe to it, right? Like maybe a NASCAR thing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. or something. Like, you'll be able to grab those at thrift stores, because you can pick them up for $4 and sell them for $15 to $20 out of your thing, right?
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing, and if you get horror DVDs, like, I just sell horror, right? Maybe the odd like Cheech and Chong or something kind of like cult following, but for the most part, it's just horror DVDs. I just put them in a tote. They don't have. It's better if they're not in order. Just kind of thrown in there, tossed in there, piled up, and just slide them under your table and just put horror DVDs. People will come in there and buy 10 at a time. They will sit there for half an hour digging to see what kind of DVDs you have.
Yeah.
Because they're crazy, like rock and roll for record. They're that kind of mentality. They love that genre, and a lot of times they'll just pay crazy money for certain things too. But if you want, like, you have all your stuff on the thing, and it's like all that space under the table, you're still paying for that space. Utilize it. Do a couple totes of VHS, DVDs. Some people will just want the cover art on the VHS, and you got, like, if it's horror movie DVD or VHS, so like I got a couple that I'm going to put on, that I just picked up, that I'm going to put online for like $50 a piece. Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween 3. But if you get a Halloween 2 and it's worth $10 on eBay, I just put $5 across the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just throw them in a tote, slide them under the table with a sign saying VHS tapes, horror movies. Dude, you'll be like, what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? Because people love that shit. And it's a way of putting a lot of stuff in a small area, in an area underneath your table, that you really can't put a lot of other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a lot of that stuff already backlogged.
Yes. And you'll find it all the time now, Carl, because you're looking for it.
I'm looking for it. Now, I'm not getting a booth until September or October. So
perfect.
Yeah.
I would get it, like, I would get it as early as possible, because I'm telling you, because fourth quarter's coming.
Yeah, I'm a little hot.
Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, right? You got Halloween stuff's coming up. Halloween is huge. So if you can get in there and slam a bunch of horror Halloween stuff, you start finding costumes, you know what I mean, for $1 at yard sales. You can put like $15 to $20 on them, depending, the condition and genre and how old they are and stuff like that. But, like, honestly, dude, I think you got a little gold mine thing going on here. Like,
well,
because you were telling me the amount of people that go through there. Yeah. Wait until you see like a Christmas or something. It is crazy,
Yeah, and we'll see if I like it, because I don't know if I'll like it. And
you'll like it.
We'll see. Anyway, it's been very liberating for buying stuff. It's been great for that.
Yes.
I'll buy this and this and this and this and this.
Does your mind, like, you've expanded what you're able to deal with, because you have an outlet now, right?
I have an outlet for it, and the other nice thing is it's going to get a lot of stuff out of my basement, because I can store right. It's not the flea market does have like temporary tables outside, but that's not what I'm interested in. I actually want the indoor ones, and you can just keep your stuff there. So it's also going to free up room, especially for the big stuff. Like I have some cool lamps behind me that would do well, I think, in a flea market, but I can't really sell them online because there's not enough value there and too much of a pain in the butt. So stuff like that too. But anyways,
so I'm gonna tell you to stay away from one thing, because you're gonna go to Max Sold and you're gonna see a ton of this, and it's gonna take over. And I did it, and I learned from it. So this is School of Hard Knocks. I'm kind of giving you, be careful on your art,
right?
Because you'll buy a shitload because it's $1, but it's going to take up so much space, and people don't really like what you think they're going to like. They're going to like it for the most part, unless it's like a native, like, block print or something like that, screen printing. For the most part, any prints are useless. I don't care if they're selling them for $300 in the front of Canadian Tire, auctioning this off because it's a $300 print. It's very tough to get that. It'll sit for a long time. But if you get some like folk arty, kind of off the, like, kind of oddball-y stuff,
right,
and it's original, and even some of the old lithographs, of like hunting scenes or dog scenes, you'll start to see what I mean. Those can do okay, but be very careful with your art, because you will fill up on it fast and it'll sit. But if it's unique folk arty, I'll give you some examples. I'll try to do some examples over my shows, but there's certain ones that'll sell very well.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I learned, dude, because
know,
I'm
right?
like, shit, and I got all these prints, and it's like they're not even moving.
And the funny thing is, I'm looking to my side and I see 3 or 4 prints just sitting there ready to go. They're
Because they're so
tempting.
cheap.
They're so cheap and they're old. Like this
Yeah.
is a 150-year-old print. But
Well, some of those prints can do well. Like I haven't
yeah,
seen it, but don't get like the '90s. Like I don't want to steer you wrong because some of that stuff by certain artists can be very good too, but it's very tough. Like it's
is
like
there a
just don't
demand
get
for
that.
it? Is there a demand for it? And do they print a shitload of them? Because sometimes they printed so many of them,
Yeah.
and the demand was there like 100 years ago, but now no one wants that. Even if those cool, even though it's old, right? So you're right. Like getting a feel for what sells is really important, and like because I have a feeling, I feel that I have a good feeling for what sells on eBay,
Right.
right? And
For
that
sure you
comes
do.
after
For
4 or 5 years of experience now,
Yeah.
and this is a different market. This isn't. Yeah, there are some antiques there. And when I mean market, I don't mean this particular market. I meant different customer base. How about that? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to have collectors go in there, right? But you're also going to have people who are just like, oh, I want to get Scrabble to play on the weekend and I want to pay $2 for it. Like you have that aspect as well. So we'll see. Yeah, so I am going to do it. It's just that the time periods are screwed up because I think we're going away to Maritimes
Okay.
in the beginning of August. So I don't want to obviously get a booth before then. And there might not be any available because like I'm sure a lot of people suddenly decide they want a booth when Q4 starts coming up. So I'm hopeful that one will be available at the end of August or September, and we'll see. There's also like at this mall, at this place, there's also like good spots and really bad spots. And I don't like there's the basement and no one goes down into the basement. I don't want the basement. I'd rather just not have a booth, even if there's one down there for cheap. Well, I guess it depends how cheap because, but whatever, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it might be months before I actually get one. But so should we continue on and go to the comments? Is there anything else you wanted to add before we move on?
No. I think you'll be very happy with the boot with the flea market thing. You were saying that there are a lot of people that go through there, and
Yes, there is.
I think it'll probably do better for you than an antique booth. Is my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to source enough good antiques.
And I do want to add one more thing because you said it last time. I think we were talking a little bit about you'll have to be there. So
Yes.
where I'm paying a commission because I don't have to be there, but you got to be there once a week. I go to the booth once to twice a week. Just because
Yeah.
I'm stocking the shelves, I'm still there. So you're actually benefiting because you go once a week and you stock and sell at the same time. But I still have to go too. You know what I mean? So you don't have that commission you have to worry about.
No, I think it's
Because you
cheaper
were
than
you were saying, oh, that commission means a lot because you don't have to be there. That's true to a degree. We are open 5 days a week. 2 months of the year, some days we're open 6. Put it that way. But I still have to go there once a week as well. I'm
to restock.
stocking,
Yeah.
right? So you're going once a week, so your time is accounted for properly. Like I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't look at it as a negative. I'd look at it as an equal in that I have to be there too.
Well, the fact is I'm also a social creature. Like now, I don't know if I'm social from like 8 to 4 on a Sunday, but I do like talking to people and I like talking to new people. My fantasy is that I'll list while I'm there. Now, right?
Dude, sweet. You'll definitely pick stuff to list, that's for sure.
Well, there that will definitely happen, but also like sit there and I'll list postcards or whatever at the
Yeah.
same time. That's a fantasy.
Yeah.
We'll see if that actually is the reality.
Well, let me just kind of correct you a little bit. If you're so busy selling, you don't need to be listing. Like,
I'm sure, I hope
right?
so. That would be the perfect thing.
Hopefully you're so busy. But here's another thing. Like those dragons that I bought, and
Yeah,
out of the 8 of them,
yeah,
7 were $20.
yes,
It's not worth selling online.
no,
I put them in the antique store, and somebody came and bought them all for $15 a piece. You know, the one that was worth a little bit more, I listed online. I think I got 45, $50 on it. But you're going to see that kind of stuff. People will come in and buy everything, dude, and you'll be able to go and you'll say, "Well, I can't buy these McFarlane dragons because they're only $20 online, and it's not worth it by the time you do shipping and everything." But now you can buy them. You can buy that box for $20, sell them for $15 a piece, and you'll unload 6 or so.
yeah.
So
That's like these records I picked up. There's no way I would have picked these up if I didn't have planned to be in the flea
yeah,
market, because they're
and
not rock and roll, right?
right,
They're kind of, I don't even know how to describe them. Kind of like small bands that might have been like not hits,
okay.
but that's fine. For 50 cents each, I was willing to take the chance.
And pick up 45s. Pick up the 45s now because if they're rock, they got beetles. You got $5 a piece, and you can pick up a ton of 45s for nothing. For nothing,
Are the
right?
45s the small ones?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. See, that's how
And
ignorant I am when it comes to records.
sell them for $5 a piece. If they're the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, anything rock, you can get $5 a piece. You can lot the other ones up. All sorts of things you can do there. Hats, you can buy tons of hats.
Yeah.
Put them $5 a piece a hat, and you just put them in the bin. Let people dig.
You know what I really hope to sell is all my Avon jewelry crap.
Yeah, but there might not be even people there for that.
No, don't say that, man.
Avon is Avon, dude. You can't get around
man.
Avon.
I will say it's Avon.
But you go to a garage sale, instead of sitting there picking through and trying to Google lensing 1,000 toys, pick up the whole box, because now you can bag the toys that don't sell for $5 and people will come and buy them for their kids.
Yes.
That's what I do out of the booth, and it works. And you throw them in a bin. You can buy McDonald's toys. You know what I mean? And especially if they're in the original packages. For $5 a piece, you can usually pick them up for $10. They'll have a whole box of them, right? And like all sorts of that kind of stuff. So you're gonna see. It's gonna be you're gonna be amazed at how much you can sell off, and you can cherry pick the gold, put it online, and you can sell the other stuff, and there's still people out there to buy it.
That's the plan.
Yeah, I hope it works out, buddy.
I'm only scared of a couple things. One is I'm going to go bonkers, having to go every Sunday and sitting there for like all that time and getting used to people haggling. Because
haggling's fine.
Well, it's fine for you.
Yeah, you'll be fine with it. You won't worry about it.
I don't even have garage sales. Like that's how much I just like that stuff. But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Just remember, nobody cares. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, they go home and nobody remembers anything. So who cares?
I just swore a bad swear. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I think I remember all that stuff.
Let it go.
Awkward incident in my life gets replayed regularly every day. I'm terrified of adding more of those. Let's get to the comments because
all right, buddy. All right, let's get to the comments.
Thank you everyone for commenting.
Yes, and we're here every Friday, Eastern Standard Time. Well, it doesn't matter. We're here every Friday on Spotify and YouTube, audio only. So
yeah, you don't want to. Thankfully, you don't have to see our faces. But if you want to see our faces, that's Sunday night.
That's Sunday night. All right. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Randy or Nova Scotia Celt 5218. Hi, Scott and Carl. Maybe I am a nerd, but I think the last 2 shows were funny. Reminds me of Abbott and Costello's money skit. Also makes me so glad I'm no longer an accountant. Happy the show ended on positive note. You two make Friday morning so much better, Randy. Oh, thanks, man. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah. We always have these big debates.
It's funny. Sorry, Carl. I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, it's all good, man. We think it's hilarious. I think I sent Scott a text later in the day saying my wife says I'm right and you're wrong. So yeah, that's all good. I'm glad you enjoy our our debates.
And it's funny that he says Abbott and Costello, because what popped in my mind was Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Oh yeah,
Right? Just
yeah.
how they go back and forth and they argue and stuff. And but it's funny to go back and listen to it. I always enjoy it too, because I'm always surprised at some of the things we've said, to be honest with you. And it's amazing, and I've said this 1,000 times, you've said it as well, but it's amazing how much we don't hear
I know.
when we got our own agenda in our head. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I totally missed what Carl was saying there.
I know. It's
Right?
it's eye opening.
It is. It is. And it makes you wonder, like, through life, how much you've misunderstood and
I
how
know,
you
right?
went in directions in life because you misunderstood something. You know what I mean?
Or you just like misinterpreted what the other person said in a negative way,
Yeah.
and then just got all yeah. Human communication everyone's really bad at it.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so I'll read the next one here. By doing it wrong, going to see doing it wrong here. Listen to YouTube Baker over which end of the egg to break is freaking hilarious.
Oh man, I love that comment. I talked to my
That
wife
is,
about that. That is
yeah.
such a good thing. I'm stealing that egg comment. Yeah,
We got so many T-shirt sayings. It's crazy from our listeners here, Carl, because that's a great T-shirt. Honestly, it's extra insightful when you guys fight about it. You get two different views where neither are really wrong. And you know what? I agree with that. Like, either side isn't really wrong. It's just we just kind of defend the way we're doing it. Like,
no, you're wrong, Scott. I'm
I'm
right.
not
I'm right.
attacking the way you're doing it. I'm just defending the way I'm doing it. But anyway, before I read the next comment, I want to get my spreadsheet out.
I know, right?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's funny. We all have different ways of doing
Yeah.
things, right? Or what's important, or what we feel is necessary, and you know, the bottom line is: are we enjoying it? Are we making money? Can we continue doing it? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you're good. So I guess I'll read the next one from
Yep.
YDMF2. Carl, you should check out Gore Street Antique Market in Perth. It's about the same price as what you're paying, and it's open 7 days a week, and you don't have to be there. Yeah, like, so it's funny. There's all these antique markets I haven't been to, like, and the one in Perth, a good friend of mine, James had his antique booth there too, and he was doing really well. He's really good at pottery and glass and stuff like that. And he just stopped because he said it wasn't really worth the time to drive out there, and he changed a little bit what he was doing. And you know, like we just talked about, like for the antique booths, yeah, not being there is great. Like just paying 10%, that's worth it. The reason why I'm kind of looking to the flea market is just what we talked about, is that I have a lot of stuff that might do better in a flea market because it's all that low end stuff, and I want to try it because I discovered that I don't know what I like and what I do like, and sometimes I have to actually just do it. And you know, honestly, it's just a 2-month commitment from what I understand, so it's not like the end of the world. But you could always do both. I'm sure there's a lot of people who do both. It's kind of like, you know, if you have your antique booth, you're still going to do eBay because it's a different market. And I would argue even that the flea market, antique booth, and eBay are all separate markets in a way. But we'll see. But thank you very much for the advice. I'll have to check that out. And I haven't even been to this one in Stittsville either. So
Yeah. 7 days a week's good. Like, if you're open 7 days, we're open 5. To a degree. I mean, we have 2 months of the summer. We're open 6 days a week, Mondays included, closed Tuesdays, and then we're open every holiday Monday. But anyway, that being said, 7 days a week, you know, you get a little more bang for your buck there. I love the antique stores. I mean, it's a learning curve without question. I've been doing it for 9 years now, and there's definitely a learning curve involved. But you learn a lot, and you learn quickly too, especially if you're able to communicate with some of the better, more seasoned guys in there. They'll teach you the ropes, right? Like, that's my experience, anyways.
me
And
too.
I wouldn't have wanted to start reselling any other way. I really wouldn't. Like, they've taught me so much, and I've met such amazing people with like just insight. Like, I mean, you can't beat experience. right? And those guys have the experience that, they're willing to share in the knowledge. It's insane.
People
So
are
I'm very thankful for knowing them, and I think you'll start kind of seeing that same kind of thing.
people are very generous with their information. Like, I know we have a reputation, some of us have being very standoff and being grumpy, but there's so many people who make up for that and have just like taught me so much for literally a negative gain for them. Because
Yeah.
basically they're teaching their competition in a way. But
Yeah.
just like this, they want to share so much and they're so passionate, and a genuine friendship forms from that. And it becomes more about what's really important. As mushy as that is, it's kind of true, right?
Yeah.
Especially, for women, but also for particularly, I don't know if this is sexist, maybe this is sexist. Sorry out there, everyone. I'm an old man.
Just say it. Just say it.
But for guys, it's really hard sometimes to form friendships. And because we really rely on things that we have in common to form friendships, and this is just another way to have that. And for a lot of guys, it's like you get socially isolated if you're not careful.
Yeah, I would say all my social activity is 100% around picking an antique booth.
Yeah,
without question.
Anyways,
Yeah.
let's keep going. I'm getting
Yeah,
too I don't want to cry here.
It's just the knowledge base that they're going to share with you the knowledge base that was shared with me isn't even about reselling. It's about picking and knowing your items and learning antiques, learning, experiences that they've dealt with and selling it, and prices, and how sometimes these things can get ridiculously high priced. Like, it's crazy. So,
and let's be honest, quite a bit of bitching too.
A few, but for the most part, not crazy bitching. Honestly, like,
no.
I mean, the ones that aren't doing well might bitch, but the ones that are very knowledgeable are usually doing well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
almost everyone I know who's really good says, "Oh, things are amazing." So you gonna do the next one?
Who's the next one? Don?
Well, that's weird.
She only
feels
wrote a
like I
couple
set this
lines.
up.
What? No. She wrote very few this time. What's going on, Don? You didn't like the show, I guess, last time, because we need more comment. Right selections. Carl, best of luck getting up at 4 a.m. on Sunday and working for 8 hours without AC. Oh, interesting. Without the AC. Heat makes me rage so much. LMAO. We stuck to the older area of Ilderton. I didn't find much to resell either, but I found stuff for myself and way too many baked goods. Yes, baked goods is at the church downtown. But you know what? As much as the baked good things is there, like, and I laugh at it and agree, I usually buy a few cookies for the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I really do. Guys, you never have to feel obligated to read my entire novels. But we love it, Don. So I will definitely make sure we read it. Novels in the podcast. I know I didn't know how to shut up. Don, we're the same way. Like I said last time with the show, I'm worse for sure. I feel bad for taking up so much of the episode. I mean, if I was only affecting Carl, then whatever. Did not mean to cause such a spirited debate. Laughing. So I don't know if she's being sarcastic there. Wink, wink. She actually did mean to, but it's fine. It made the entertaining show. I thought it was fine. I liked it. That's good.
Yep.
So as she's apologizing for doing a long comment,
right?
She's got a long comment, but I'm not complaining. I think it's great. These long AS comments are because I have the comment open while I'm listening. So I keep adding, oh, okay, well, that's a good idea, actually, because I usually forget what I was going to comment on. So that's actually pretty good. Deal with it, Carl, and do my math. The spreadsheet that I use helps me to see my overall numbers all in one spot, since I sell on both Etsy and eBay, especially one. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to come back to it.
Okay.
In a weird sort of way, I guess I do a spreadsheet. In the fact that I keep track of my numbers, but I write them down instead of calculating them on a computer. So I guess you do a spreadsheet. If you're keeping track of things, you're doing
the same numbers.
It's the same numbers.
That's what I was trying to say before. Is the Excel sheet sounds scary because it's Excel.
Yeah.
But really, it's exact same numbers you need anyways.
But at the same time, by knowing my numbers and stuff like that, I can quickly calculate in my head and get close enough to where I need to be that I just don't need to refer to a spreadsheet. Like I kind of have that number in my mind. And maybe it's just because I've gone to so many auctions and you're kind of like I can't bring out a calculator at a live auction and figure out.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I was talking about. I was talking
that's completely
irrelevant.
I don't think I need to do that type of spreadsheet thing, calculator thing. Okay. While I'm picking, that's all.
I never use my Excel sheet when I'm picking. I'm not talking about that.
You said you do it when you go on the
online auction.
Me on it.
Online auctions.
Yeah.
Online auctions.
Yeah, but if I'm doing an online auction and I'm doing a live auction, why don't I just do it the same way? I'm right because there.
When you're at home, you have your Excel sheet open.
Dude, I did it in 6 seconds. How far away from what?
Yeah, and your answer was wrong.
It was not wrong.
Yeah, because we were bidding on the same thing, and I won the auction. You got nothing, and I won.
Yeah, but your battery was corroded.
See, and you were getting obsessed.
No,
one type of item. It was a widget. I should have said widget, guys. I should have said widget and stuck with widget.
But I'm gonna go back onto this thing too. If it's every single thing, it depends on the type of widget it is. Because if it's a camera, I'm not gonna go. I'm not even gonna do the $50. The $50 was your question. If you wanted to make $100, what's the most you would go on it? But I said last week I probably wouldn't go more than $20-$25 on it because there could be issues with it, and a lot of times there are. However, if it's a sign,
this is what I'm pointing out is that my calculator accounts for that.
Well, it doesn't because you would have paid more. You would have paid more.
That because you would want a higher average net to account for that.
Yeah, but you would have paid to get the $100, where I wouldn't have paid.
No, I gave us both the exact same scenario.
Yeah, no, I know
the exact same thing. Where it's like you want to make $100 on this camera, right?
There is times where I don't even bid on cameras.
Right. See, we're getting obsessed with cameras. It's not about the cameras. Anyways, let's keep going because I don't want to get back into this.
But if you give me a porcelain sign, I'm probably going to outbid you.
Amy said I was right. That's all I care about. Amy said I was right.
She has to live with you, Carl. She doesn't even care.
Oh my god!
You probably asked her what you said right about. And she, I don't know.
Will you hear my head tapping against this mic?
All right. See, Don got us into trouble again. The spreadsheet that I use to help me to see my overall numbers are numbers. I think I stopped. I stopped somewhere. I didn't finish the Spirited Debate listening, so I keep. Okay, maybe this was it here. Especially come tax time. Okay, it's less. It lets me see 1/4. Right. So this is where I'm saying we probably do a spreadsheet, but I do it differently. I am on team spreadsheet, even though I haven't done any this year yet. Yeah, so I do calculations and I record my numbers to know money in and money out. I know what I paid for certain items. I keep a record of that. So I have that kind of documentation. Carl, your calculator you mentioned on the eBay FVVF. What's that? FVF on the item. The transaction fee and the shipping, but I don't think you include the FVF on the shipping itself.
Oh no, I can't remember this. So I talked to her about that, and actually I do. So there's a transaction fee.
Yeah.
And then there's eBay's fee. So like the eBay's fee is like, I don't know, 13% on the item. So something like that. Don't quote me on this, but you also pay a transaction fee that a lot of people don't even really realize. That's quite significant. And that's for the money getting transferred to your account.
So FVF is final value fee.
Oh, final value fee. Yeah, there you go. Okay. But that also includes like we have a currency exchange fee that a lot of people don't know about. That's actually in there too. So I account for that, which is quite significant. I think it's 2.3 or 2.9% or something. There's another fee in there that a lot of people don't know about, especially Americans, because they usually don't have to pay it. But like, okay, I don't know if you want to get into this, but a lot of people don't know about it. If you sell on .ca, and an American buys your item for $100 Canadian, they have to pay a fee for the currency exchange, and they pay that up front. But if you sell on .com as a Canadian, and an American buys your product, you have to, as the seller, you have to pay the conversion fee once the money eventually is turned from American dollars into Canadian dollars to pay you. And a lot of people don't know that. I'm just saying that stuff is actually in my fees, and she's talking about the fair, what was it? What VFF? What is that again? Final value fee on shipping. Yeah, and that's that 13% I was talking about earlier is on shipping as well, and that was because people were like, when the fair value final value fee was on the item only, people were doing like $50 shipping and $1 for the item to get around paying fees, right?
Yeah.
So my calculator does include that fee on the shipping. So you're wrong, Dawn. And then finally, she just says, "There, I kept this short." So I just finished it off there for you, Scott.
Well, Don, I don't think you're wrong. That's fine.
Okay, should I do the last one here?
Sure.
Doing it wrong.
Yep.
A spreadsheet isn't useless. It's a tool. Since I have a day job that supports my reselling hobby, I'm only using it to save a bunch of tax money. Once I retire in probably 20 years, I'll care more about the numbers. Manually inputting all the listings from eBay, creating all the formulas, tying it all to each listed purchase, creating charts for how much you made per item, your real sales numbers, return on investment, etc. That's just too much effort for me as a part-timer. So yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, like, actually, I don't have to, once you write down the formula, you don't ever have to do it again. And it's not that hard of math. But also, like, my point being that you have to keep track of all this stuff anyways. The only thing, you have to keep track of how much you paid for shipping, or how much you spent on inventory, how much you spent on supplies, on shipping, on eBay fees, like all this stuff you have to calculate.
Sure.
Keep track of anyways.
Yeah.
Now I do it per month. You might not, you could just do it per year, I guess.
Well, I think it's easier if you track it throughout the month and do it each month.
That's what I do. And like, I just download all that information from the transactions from eBay itself, which comes in an Excel sheet. There's a little bit of a pain in the buttness for like taking the garbage they give you and making it into real numbers, which is a pain in the butt, but you have to do it anyways, despite for taxes. So it's not like it's wasted work. The only thing I calculate that isn't automatically done for you is like at the beginning of the month, I see how many listings I have. I record that, and I see how many items I sold in the previous month. And I also take the number that it gives you of how much my inventory is worth. So, because I use all of those numbers for other stuff, it's not that big a deal. It takes literally 5 minutes, but
yeah, but that's not really the reasons we were talking about spreadsheets. We were talking about spreadsheets to identify problems, right? That's what you were saying. And I'm saying, and my thing was, if it's a tool that you can use, then it helps you, then fine. But I don't need that tool. I see it different. I'm watching it every day. Like,
that's because you're successful. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to our audience, right?
Like, I watch it every day, and I can kind of like for instance, I'm like, okay, this weekend, what is going on? Wasn't a bad weekend. It wasn't a great weekend. So what's going on? Well, okay, it's July. People are probably out vacationing. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we have a fantastic Monday. My first question is to Stephanie was, because she works Sunday, was the store busy? Like, was my stuff not selling? Well, she goes, no, it really wasn't that busy. Okay, so then it's just a day where people are out doing other things. There might have been a function going on. right? But if next weekend's slower and the following weekend's slower, now I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Are the stores busy? Am I like? There's so many other things that come into play that a spreadsheet's not going to tell you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not going to tell you day by day. It tells you month by month, right?
Well, I know, but you keep track of those. I mean, I don't care if it's 6 months. Like there's variables within there that a spreadsheet's not going to talk about. Like it's not going to talk about weather conditions,
Well,
whether
weather
we
conditions
had.
average out over time, right?
I know that. I know what you're saying, but I just think to really focus on it, I don't think just numbers is going to tell you. Like you're going to know your numbers, but that's not
But,
going to tell you what's necessarily going on because there could be a lot of other things going on.
but don't forget, I also said this Excel sheet is most relevant to online sales.
Well, I okay, that's what you said. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it, but
Well,
like
it's my Excel sheet. I can say what I want.
I know, but there could be a lot of other reasons too, right? So maybe the items you used to pick, maybe you used to pick glass and glass is out of favor, right?
Yeah, it
Or you
won't tell
used to
you
do a
that.
lot of toys, and now everybody's going to these toy markets because they were closed during the pandemic, but now they're like all over the place. So toys have dropped in value because people would rather go to the toy store, the toy markets,
Yeah.
like the
I don't want to
toy.
have. I want to keep going because I don't want to have another huge discussion on it.
That's true.
But really, it's more about how are you trending overall, and that's all I'm going to say. Online sales,
Okay.
and that's all it does. It's not magic. But it will tell you has your average sale price decreased over time? Are you selling more and more crap? Is your number of sales decreasing? And over time, not just one weekend or another. But let's keep going because we've already done it, and I feel like we're already at an hour and 10, and we're gonna get stuck back into the same quagmire that we did before. So,
okay. All right. So, what's our topic today, Carl? Numbers.
we're gonna topic. So this is episode number 31. I'm pretty sure 100% we didn't even mention that at the beginning.
We did not.
I figured this time we'll have a little more fun instead of like all serious numbers, and we just quickly talk about the different type of resellers that are out there and what their personalities are like.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, before we get going, what would you classify me as a reseller?
Oh man. you are the gut of resellers.
Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, that's so hurtful.
Oh, it's not hurtful. It's like you use your intuition.
Okay, that's better.
Okay, so gut and intuition the same thing to me. But if you
Not
prefer,
really.
we'll use intuition.
One's kind of a combination of experience and thoughtfulness, and
yes.
it's a lot of it encompasses a whole range of things, and I would totally agree with that.
But I would say you're a traditional antique mall reseller, which means that you have experience. You have. Well, I just tell you what I think that means, at least, right? So you have enthusiasm for what you do. You enjoy the hunt. You actually enjoy the money. You do it full time, which is a big thing, right? You like buying in bulk, right? And the other thing with you, this isn't really quite well with the topic, but what type of person you are, but you are willing to buy a big bulk of things that they're cheap enough, of antiques and vintage stuff, without sitting there and comping each one, right? And that's worked out really well for you.
Well,
in general, yeah.
But because of where I live, I think I'm fortunate. Like by listening to other people, I think other people, and I don't know this for sure. Maybe they just don't pick their area as they probably could. But I really do think just because of the area I live in, I'm going to say that I feel fortunate to be in this area because it is full of rich history.
Right.
All right. So am I going to judge?
Yeah.
I think you are the Inspector Gadget of reselling.
Oh wow! I have all my
Because you
little
like to
system.
use all these tools and processes and to manage and to guide you through your reselling.
I do enjoy the accounting aspect of this,
Yes.
or not the accounting. Sorry, the analysis,
The analysis, yes.
right? And I do enjoy that. I must admit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call you the Inspector Gadget because you like all these like and it can even go into your picking because you like cameras and
Yeah,
you like intricate things
I like.
where I might be more kind of and I say this in a loose sort of way, but I might be kind of the artsy kind of guy because I like art and not just painting art, but I could look at sculpture or even an old camera could be art if it's set on a shelf in a certain way. Like, and that's probably because I come from a displaying background, like you had said, through the antique store,
Yeah,
where you're more of like kind of the numbers guy. What has the value based on your spreadsheets?
I'm an online cherry picking seller,
Crazy
traditionally,
man.
right? Like
Like
I
you,
cherry pick. So like for
you're
example, that camera. So you're talking about cameras there.
yes,
I won't just buy the whole box. I'll buy the one specific one out of the box.
right.
Where you'll just buy the whole box,
I'll buy the whole box.
and neither's right or wrong. It's just a different way of doing it. But I am a cherry picker, so now, so ironically, I'm going away from that because there's disadvantages to it. But yeah, but should we go on to?
Well, I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm gonna add to it. There's disadvantages to cherry picking unless you have the ability to move forward into multiple directions. So if you're just selling online, I think your advantage in cherry picking. But if you have a flea market and eBay, now cherry picking's a whole new ballgame for you. It's going to
It's
open
less
up a lot
significant for sure, right? Because
because you
like
have another way of getting rid of that stuff. That's
yeah, when you pick up those
profitable.
things that sell for $5, even if you get it for free, it still doesn't make sense to sell online something for free for $5. But if you have, and that's the way I'd be molded because that's the way it's been, right? So I've learned not to. What I've learned is if I buy that stuff that sells for $5, it sits in my basement forever or it gets donated, right?
Look,
But
I think I made a mistake this weekend, and I don't really know, but this guy had I think 30 signs, and he wanted $10 a piece if I buy them all. And I hummed and hawed, and then he goes, "You know what? If you buy them all, I'll give it to you for 200." And they were metal signs. They were street signs. There were signs with names on it. 20 of them had names of streets on it. They were the big green signs that you put on this like street signs. And the other ones were like no parking or arrow. It was a yellow sign with an arrow, or they were street symbol signs. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with these signs. I'm just like $200, and I just kind of talked myself out of it, and I ended up cherry picking. I spent $70 on what I get 4, 7, 11 signs for $70, where I could have got 30 plus signs for $200.
yeah,
And I should have probably picked them all because there was nothing really wrong with those signs. They were just like $200, and I talked
it,
myself out of it.
you know what, like that scenario is very interesting because that is a difficult one that I think we've all come across where it's like, do I just say screw it and buy everything, or do I just pick what I really know is actually going to sell? And we've all been in that situation, and like that sign one is a good example because it's like, some of those signs are going to stick around forever. They might not have any value, but
Well, they would have value, first of all, because whatever doesn't sell, I'd throw in an auction. I would have got my money back probably
yeah,
just in an auction. Not the 200, but the extra on top of that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you're right. Like that question went through my head really quickly there, and I kind of like wonder if I made the right choice there. But
yeah, you can second guess yourself and
yeah,
worry about that. But
I mean, if they had like last names or popular last names or like Scott or Nick or Carl or something street, like that's a different thing. But it was like, they were just
Elm Street,
random street names. What's that?
Elm Street.
Yeah, Elm
Yeah.
Street would have been perfect. Yes,
Oh, that would be good. Well, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
like, yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Like, is it going to sell, and is it going to take up a lot of room? And I'd rather spend $70 than $200 and wait to get that other $130 back for like ages, or signs are big and bulky too. Like
They were big, bulky, heavy. Yes.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying a whole bunch of, I don't know, bottle openers or whatever, right? Like, it's where you're just like, screw it, who cares? But I get the signs. Like, that one's difficult.
But anyways, so okay, what kind of type of reseller are you?
Okay, so this is a joke, people. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is
I'm gonna put you on the spot, Carl.
Before you even get into it. Okay,
what would you call Dawn? What would she call her as a reseller?
Oh, Dawn?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because I'm gonna get you in trouble there.
Well, I know she sells just ephemera. So I don't know. Can I come back to that? I have to think about that one. Sorry, Don. I know you're like, what's he gonna say? But it's just like, because I know she sells ephemera, and she does a bit of Facebook, I think, too, because I see her posts come up, but I don't know. But because it's mostly a joke. This is kind of a joke episode. I didn't really want to. So the first type of reseller I call the cheap ass reseller.
Okay. That's probably me too.
That's the person who wants like that $100 item and won't pay more than $1 for it, or $5 or $3. It just refuses, even though they can make like a easy $50. We all know those people who are just like, will walk by amazing deals just because they refuse. They have like this unwritten rule: I don't pay more than $5 for anything at a garage sale. That I don't pay more than $5 for a box lot. Like that sort of thing. The cheap ass reseller. That's one of them for me.
I can be categorized to that. Like, it doesn't mean I won't buy it, but it doesn't mean I won't ask for less.
That's fine. You can ask for less. The problem is when they won't. Like, if you see something worth $100 and you refuse to go up above $10, then you're being a cheap ass, right? It's like, that doesn't mean you don't want it for $10. I'm just saying you'll walk away if it's over $10. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all these things, we also have aspects of it to ourselves as well, right? Because I've been trying to go, like, when I've been umming and ahhing about stuff in the thrift store, and it's like it's $1.99 or $2.99. It's like, Carl, just buy it. It's like, even if you made a mistake, like $3 doesn't buy you anything nowadays. Yeah. You can't even get breakfast at McDonald's for less than $20, I think.
Yeah. The $3 at a yard sale is the new, I don't know how you want to put it, but it's the old 25-cent. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you got something for 25 cents like 10 years ago, it's probably $3 now. So
exactly.
All right. So what am I going to say here? How about the picker, or the reseller that only goes after one type of item?
The niche
seller. The niche.
Niche or niche, yeah.
Niches get stitches.
Right. and it's some obscure one too. It's like, I only pick up, I don't know, railroad badges.
Yeah. I think if they're doing it full time, I don't think that's possible.
It's very hard. Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe clothing is about the only one you can do.
I've seen people do railroad stuff, like trains.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that person's so into trains, and that's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
They just want a place where they can talk to other people about trains. It's not really about like making money with the train. They make money with the trains, but you know what I mean? It's much more about trains than it is about flipping stuff for money.
For sure.
Right.
And you got people with glass, and you're saying Don does a lot of ephemera and stuff, but there's so much variety in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
I
would say
guess
it's less niched.
so. If you can find that stuff in bulk to the point where you don't need to like you're not going to go hungry because you haven't found it for 3 months. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
at the same time, I think those people are missing a lot of opportunities.
you and
They're
I
lo-
are not niche resellers.
I'm not a niche person.
No, you're
I'm
not. Just,
scared to miss that opportunity of something, right?
I'll
And
buy
I like
anything.
learning new stuff too.
I'll buy diapers if I can make $5 off of it. Right? Honestly, I will.
I won't buy
Right?
insoles. Well, yeah, I will.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. We're not scared of the new and packaged. Like we're not stuck. And hey, if you can do that, that's great. But it's
Yeah,
like I know people probably do well with knives, lighters. I see people do that. Comic books for sure.
comic
Coins.
books for sure. Yeah.
Coins. Actually, coins are probably one of the most successful ones. I hear people do really well with coins.
Or jewelry.
Jewelry, yeah. So, but we're not those. We're not those people. So another type of reseller is the break-even reseller.
Oh,
And you see those people who have a booth full of amazing antiques that they selling for 100 that they bought for basically 100.
yeah.
Have you known those?
Uh,
They
to a
generally don't.
degree, yes.
Usually being either there forever or they don't last long. I think is my
Yeah.
impression.
Um, there's definitely people who pay too much and they're probably aren't making any money.
Yeah,
Um, they're probably not losing it, but they're there for a different reason, I think, too, Carl.
the
Like,
break even ones. Yeah,
yeah, they're there because it's a hobby for them and they
yeah.
just enjoy it. Like, they probably have a very small booth. They probably come in and just like to talk to people. And, I mean, it's not very aggressive. You know what I mean? I mean, they're hard. They're very competitive at auctions because they don't really care. They're going to
They don't
outpay.
care. No,
They don't care, right?
they're annoying.
They're they're a
'Cause they're
pain
like,
in the ass because you're
you're
trying
not.
to make money and they don't care. They're just going
Yeah,
to beat you.
they're like, you're not going to make any money off of that, but they buy it anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like, hey, we all do that by mistake sometimes, but this is like, no, they just want that thing, and yeah, you can't compete against them on price, and usually they have good stuff in their booth, but sometimes it's like I can sell this for $10 and they buy it for 8, and it's like it's just so not worth you're making 50 cents, but they're so convinced, probably because they don't do their Excel sheet. They just see that, hey, I sold that thing for $10. They
Dude,
don't
you hit
account.
below the belt. Just when I think we're friends again, you just come out and just
Hey,
jam me in the gut.
what are you gonna do?
But then you say, "Oh, you can't say nothing. We got to hurry up. We got no time." But yet you
Oh no,
hammer
no. For me, it's okay. So, but I have seen those people too who sell things for $10 and they pick it up for like $7.
Yeah.
It's like you're making 50 cents off of that. Like, yeah, you made money, but really you're losing money. Like that I call those the break-even resellers.
All right. I'm gonna go with the grumpy a-hole
Oh
reseller.
yes.
And I don't really know anyone like that at all in the antique store, but I do see them from time to time out at yard sales.
So grumpy. Yeah.
Yes, they're very argumentative.
Yeah.
Or they're aggressive where they push people out of the way.
Yes. Oh god.
Or
Yeah.
they get mad. Like I remember one time I bought 7 Royal Daltons and they were all in the box and I got a really good deal for them. And the lady comes by, "Oh, you got Royal Daltons." I said, "Well, I already bought them." She got all mad at me.
It's funny. I had the exact same thing happen at a thrift store. I bought a bunch of manga books, and the guy said, "Aren't you going to share?" And it's like, dude, you're a reseller. Why would I share
Yeah.
all these manga books I picked up? It was so weird.
Yeah.
He wasn't angry. I think he was, in that case, he's probably more upset about missing out.
Right.
And took his anger out in a funny way. It's
Yeah.
like, you wouldn't share with me, buddy.
And I'll get disappointed, but I never get angry. It's almost like, "Oh, nice score, man. I wish I was here 5 minutes earlier."
But yes, I have seen those angry guys who are like, just seem just upset for even being there. It's like, why are you even doing this?
Yes. If you're that angry, I've seen it where people are looking at something. One guy just grabs it and he goes, "I'm buying that." And then he goes and buys it. And it's like, I don't know. Like if I see somebody rumbling through a tote and it's like, wow, there's probably some good toys there. I don't go digging in the same box. I wait till they're done. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Or they'll stand right behind you and like reach through you. But you sometimes anger, that's just
or
like,
I might go to the person and say, "Hey, you got a tote of toys over there. How much you want for the whole tote?
Oh, what is they're going through it? Yeah.
Yeah, instead of going through. I might do that, but I don't get angry about it.
Thankfully, the angry reseller is fairly rare. It's just, but they stick in your head.
They stick in your head.
Yeah.
And there is one guy, and he walks around in cowboy boots. He drives a white van, and I don't know if he's really a jerk, but he set. I hate following him because he sets such a nasty tone to the people that you're about to buy from.
So you're going into the mess that he's left
like,
behind.
And I don't think he does it all the time, but maybe he's just grumpy sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it because if he was, and I don't think he listens to the show at all, but if he was ever to listen to the show, I wouldn't want it to be to the point where you upset him, because I think he's probably just a single guy that does this, and you know what I mean? Like, he's probably a good guy in person.
Okay.
I really don't get a bad vibe from him. But he does set the yard sale people, and I see him almost every weekend, especially locally. And he does set them, like, every now and then, like, his attitude. Like, you gotta you gotta butter him up. You don't.
I know.
You don't make them angry because they're not going to sell to you, right?
No, it's funny, eh?
Yeah.
I think some people like have just they seem grumpy, but they're not.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he's just a bad guy.
He's like all business, and maybe you should be not.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, he's too business minded. He's got to be people more minded. But yeah, so the grumpy a-hole guy, reseller.
The next one for me, the out of touch reseller, or the old timer throwback seller.
I love the old timer throwback,
but they have stuff in their booth, or they pick up stuff that no one has any interest in, or the market is completely disappeared for, and they still want the super high prices. But no, like, for example, like you mentioned, Royal Dalton, right? Still has value, right?
Right.
But not the values they had in the 80s.
Not even close.
And they still have the prices up in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or like I see a lot of things like, which has probably come back, actually, to be honest, is the little bottles of the Asian bottles of perfume that you see that was highly collectible in the 80s and 90s, and they still want like $200 for something that's now worth $50. Sometimes you come across those booths where everything is like basically nothing has moved in forever, but they don't want to bring down their price because they paid so much for it. They don't want to take a loss.
Yeah.
And they get
I bought an RS Prussia dish. It was a celery dish, RS Prussia, and it had $225 on it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, wow, I only wish I put $45 on it and put it in the booth. But it had a tag for $225. So somebody tried to get that at one point.
Yeah, exactly. But they never change.
They never change.
And then one day they disappear.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can be, for years, they can have that booth, that quote unquote, that booth in the antique mall that just sits there. And if the antique mall is not careful, they let them sit there and kind of like make that a unproductive spot of the antique mall. But they still exist.
Well, that's kind of closely connected to the guy I was the ones that I was going to mention, and it is totally antique mall, antique store, and it's the museum guy.
Yes,
he has, and you know what? There's a couple of guys that have great stuff and they have good prices, but they're still selling stuff. They're moving it. They have their buyers. Yeah. But I remember before I was in the mall that I'm in now, the guy, and listen, he taught me so much, and he knew his stuff, and he was a toy guy, but he didn't care. He didn't care if his stuff sold. He loved his toys.
He didn't really. He was like, he'd be disappointed if he sold something.
He would be a little upset for sure. But his place was a museum. He would buy the old oak and like amazing store display cases, right? Like the display cases were expensive, but it was all about, look what I got. This is my stuff. He would go to auctions and outbid people just because he wanted that toy, and he would put a big price on it and throw it in his thing. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. He doesn't care.
Someone else who's annoying at the auction, yes.
So, but he's the collector that has price tags on his stuff, but it's like, and it worked for him. He's fine. He owned the store. The specific guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He owned the store and he made his money off renting out the booths and the commissions and that kind of stuff. And when his stuff sold, like it sold, right? And he did have his buyers. He had his people that come in and they'd come in once a month and buy something, but they knew whatever he was selling was authentic because he's been in it for years. He knew what was reproduction, what was real. People would bring stuff in to sell stuff for him, to him, right? Because he didn't mind paying up a little bit, but technically he's not losing on a commission, but his stuff was like, honestly, museum kind of looking stuff.
He
like
probably has money. And
well, it is, I don't know. Like it was, you walked in there, it was unbelievable. And the problem is he had probably twice as much in totes down in the basement.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was happy with that. He loved that. He just loved buying this stuff. But I was 95% of it was old toys. Like I'm talking the old toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, at the same time, he was not afraid to make sure you got an even price. If he was to buy something for you, he give you a pretty fair price.
So I'm gonna go to the next one.
Yep.
And it's the guys who say the words Phoebe.
Okay.
And these are the guys who do not like the fact that the rules moved on to online sales. They don't like that their market got changed because all of a sudden their quote unquote rare item you can now buy for a dozen every day off of eBay. And they don't like any fees that you have to pay on eBay, which is kind of ironic considering usually they're paying lots of fees for having booths and stuff like that. But that doesn't count. They just call it Phoebe, and they will never sell online. Even if they could get like double or triple what they can get online rather than the booth, they just refuse to do eBay because they have to pay fees. They tend to be older. They tend to be older guys and women.
Yeah. And a lot of them probably just don't. They might use that as an excuse, but they probably just aren't comfortable with the computer.
There's that too. Yeah.
People are scared of scams because the scam word comes up now and then.
And I got scammed once 20 years ago. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah.
They're going to lose out on so much money because they got scammed for $10 once, but they can't let that go. It's not fair. It's like I got ripped off. And who knows? They probably didn't even get ripped off. It's probably just a misunderstanding. But who knows? Yeah.
Well, we kind of touched on it before, but my next one is going to be the aggressive reseller. And these guys are tough. These guys are tough as nails. And they're the guy that's going to go out the Friday night when someone says, "Oh, we're having a yard sale on Saturday." And they go out Friday night, "Listen, I'm out of town. I'd love to see your stuff because I'm really looking for a certain type of thing." And then they get in there the night before. You know what I mean? Or they go knocking on door to door and they'll say, "Hey, listen, this is what I do." And a friend of mine does that. He also has connections with realtors. So if a house was to sell, he gets an inside scoop on what's available, right? Because when people are selling a house, especially if somebody passes away, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be sold off or, moved on somewhere out of that house. So he gets the inside scoops, but he's very aggressive on it. And I'm just saying the aggressive guy, the guy that gets up at 6, gets on the person's driveway at 6 a.m. because the light turned on and they know they're having a yard sale.
Yeah.
Somebody turned the light on inside.
You have a bit of that yourself, I think.
Okay, no lights on. I got time for a coffee. Come back. Oh, the light's on. I'm going to sit right here and wait. But they're the aggressive guy.
The aggressive guy. Okay.
And that doesn't mean he's a jerk. He just means he's probably very smooth and comes across as a very nice person because
very competitive.
You're going to be aggressive. You can't be a jerk. You have to be
very people friendly.
But
we'll take that extra step to get the deal. He's like, he's the one who's early bird gets the worm. He's a strong believer in that.
And talks his way into the basements and the lofts and the garage and the attics and all that kind of stuff.
And if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yep.
So my next one is the reseller who's really a hoarder. And I've met quite a few of these, and they're not always obvious at first because you think they're reseller. But then when you talk to them, they say, oh, actually, I don't really sell anything. I just like picking up stuff for myself. So sometimes it's someone lying. Someone's saying that. It's like, I've heard people say, oh, I'm getting that for my granddaughter. And they're there every single day. It's like, you're not getting anything. You're reselling. You're pretending for some reason. Like half of us are here are not resellers, but fine, you do your thing. But I have met the hoarders who basically get storage units and they fill them up, or barns and they fill them up. And what they say they're doing is, oh, it's for my kids. One day my kids will come in here and they're going to get all this stuff. And all I'm thinking is, you're the person who dies, and I go into your barn where you're saving everything for your children, and we pay them pennies on the dollar for all their stuff.
And they're overwhelmed because they got so much stuff that they have to deal with, and they don't know how to deal with it.
They don't know how to, and they enjoy the buying, but that's basically it. And
no, I mean the kids are overwhelmed. They don't know how to deal with it.
Kids are overwhelmed. Well, yes, that's true too.
Right? That's just like, oh my God, Dad held so much stuff, and what do we do with it? And they end up throwing it out.
Yeah, and when I talk about hoarders, I'm not talking about necessarily the people who have like a psychological need to buy. I'm not talking about like who have like dead cats under their inventory. I'm not talking about those people because that's a mental.
You know how much those cat skulls are worth?
Yeah, but if you ever met, like, there's a mental illness with that. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people just love to buy and buy and buy and buy and buy, and they say they want to sell, but they never actually do the other end. And hey, I get that. I got a bit of that myself. You know, it's a lot more fun to buy sometimes than it is to list the stuff. But like I said, I've met people who had barns full of stuff, and he just kept buying and buying and buying. And unfortunately, I think he passed away. So, you know, that's another type of, and that one's a fairly common one. I think it's more common than we even realize is the hoarder. Yeah.
This is, I don't know if this is a picker or reseller. I'm going to say a reseller because most pickers pick for the purpose of to resell it. But I'm going to, the digger.
The digger.
And I actually consider myself a digger.
Yeah.
And mainly because, first of all, I thought everybody did it, but mainly because people call me out on it. But what I'll do, you go to a estate sale, I will look at every box in every nook and cranny. I will look in the kitchen. I will look in the drawers. I will look in the boxes, the totes, anywhere I'm allowed to go. And if it says you cannot go there, I ask, why not? Why can't I go there? If you got something interesting there, I'm still interested in buying it, and I'll try to talk my way into it. And sometimes it works, especially into a loft or like in a garage. So anyways, the one time the guy had one leg and he couldn't he was having a yard sale because they were moving. I went up in the loft and brought all the shit down for him, and I bought most of it. You know,
wow, that's good. Yeah. I'm not a digger.
I'm a total digger. I will. Dude, the little boxes are where you find the good stuff.
I know. I honestly wish I was a digger.
Yeah.
And on the days I want to dig, I actually think about taking my ADHD drugs because it helps me not be a scanner. But I know I am a scanner because I know I'm a scanner. Sorry if this went off the track.
No, that's fine.
A little bit. Because if ever Amy comes with me.
Yeah.
If she comes with me, she'll go behind me and pick up stuff I would have picked up that I went right by because I don't have that concentration level. So being a digger is a good thing. Very good thing, I think.
Well, a digger comes where I see inventory, like stuff for sale that is highly interested in. If I see a bunch of crap, I'm a total scanner. Like I'll scan through that yard sale and I'll move it on to the next one. But if I see a lot of interesting stuff, or it's an estate sale where you can go into the house.
Estate sales, yeah.
I will dig. When you go in the basement, it's usually an old basement with a cement floor. The walls and the ceiling haven't been done, or the ceiling hasn't. I'm looking up in the ceilings. I'm looking up for I am looking every nook and cranny, and I will go through that place 2-3 times sometimes. I've even gone where they've had it 2 or 3 weekends in a row, and I go back and I'll dig in different spots. I will look in every drawer. I will look in a pile of magazines. I will spend the entire day if need be, because I find the best stuff in those type of sales. And that's where if I find one of those sales, I'm going to be there for a long time.
I
I've
would
even
love.
had the window open in the summertime. They had the window open in the house, and I've been on the second level. And there was two guys running this estate sale. Their mom had passed away, and I heard the one guy saying, "Where is that guy? Is he still up there?" He goes, "Yeah, he just likes digging." And I had a blast. Right? I looked through all the closet, like all the clothes. They're piled on the bed. I'm flipping through them. I will spend the entire day there.
I am jealous of you for that. I wish I was. I need to work on that skill. You know what would be awesome? Now, if I had more experience, I say we should do it, but I don't. Is having an episode with the topic of how to do estate sales, how to source from estates. But I'm not comfortable with that because I'm not good at it. But once in the future, we'll have to think of having that as an episode because
I love estate sales. I'd be all over that for sure.
Yeah, digging good. So the next one I have is the cash only antique reseller. You see these guys like, and a lot of them are like this, right? I've always joked, like, you hear about like poker games getting robbed and all their money. If you want to get money, just rob a bunch of antique dealers because half of them have wads
of
cash.
Yeah,
like thousands.
Yeah,
like I've seen it. Like a guy brings out, it's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
And they just sell for cash. They buy for cash, all in cash, nothing but cash.
Yeah.
And they're happy. The thicker that wad is, the happier they are. I'd be paranoid of losing it. Well, go ahead. I was
just going to say the guy that had the museum thing, he had a really funny story once, and they go to they used to go when they were younger. Oh, he's actually passed on now, but when they were younger, they will go to these shows. And you go to an antique show, and he would sell something in the morning, and a couple hours later, he'd see that same sign or item being sold to someone else, and then he'd see somebody else walking with it later on, and by the end of the day, another person was walking out with it. So that would have gotten sold like 3-4 times that one day.
Oh wow,
yeah. So it's just antique guys know their stuff or have clients for certain things. But it's all cash, man. It's all like
all cash. Yeah.
When they go to those shows, it's crazy. And the money that they'll pull out a wad of cash, and it's not $1 bills because
no. It's like wrapped in hundreds.
Yeah.
It's like I was a friend of mine saying like I should roll you right now in the parking lot. I do really well. It might be worth it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be paranoid. Like
they're there to spend. For sure. They're there to buy. And buying is more important than selling in a lot of cases for them in a lot of ways too. But yeah. I mean, you got to figure it out. Some of their stuff, could be $6,000 or $4 or $5,000. And if they just sold it, they're going to have lots of money on them, right? So
yeah. I haven't seen money like that, but definitely thousands.
Oh, they'll just carry it in their deep pockets too. They'll just, it's crazy.
To me, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd be feeling where it is when my pocket's constantly afraid that it's going to fall out.
Afraid you're going to lose it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to say this because I was going to finish up, like I was going to, my last person, I was going to add this to it, but I'll just say it now. But the scanner. Because I was going to kind of combine them both in that one segment, but I just don't understand. And I apologize, Carl, because you said that you're this guy, but they got their hands in their coat pockets and they're just walking around. Usually it's a husband and wife combo, right. And they're just kind of walking around and they're just looking. You know what I mean? And maybe they're just trying to see what they just want a certain item. I don't know, but they're not looking. They're just kind of like
it's me.
Sightseeing. You know what I mean?
I have to fight that so much.
Yeah.
It's because I talk about myself because it's like, for me, I have ADHD. So it's really hard to get levels of concentration that we need. You have to force it. And before we know it, like we're like going la, 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 la in our head, right?
Yeah.
Even if we're trying to really hard to concentrate. So sometimes I scan and I don't even know I'm doing it. You know, I've always said, like, I know I've done garage sales for too long in a day. When I barely drive to one, I'll pass them or drive to one and barely look. And it's like, okay, Carl, it's time to go home. You're out of brain juice. But I am definitely a scanner. I think it's just a case of, like, for me, like I said, I don't want to scan. It's just that I tend to do that sometimes because I'm looking for that treasure and ignoring the other stuff, but going too quick because I'm scared of missing out. I'm scared of, like, someone else is going to go grab that camera before me, and I want to rush through it to get to the camera instead of saying, well, okay, I'm here now. Like the cut. Okay, I was talking about pre-show. I picked up a bunch of Cutco knives, right? And that'll get me out like 100 American. And normally I would zoom through the cutlery section, but this time I went real slow and went along. And it's like, oh my God, there's actually Cutco here. Or sometimes, you know, silver, which is really rare. But and I know that's a weakness, but I think it's something I have to fight because that's the way I'm built for some reason.
Well, okay, so if there's an estate sale and there's a bunch of people there, I will do the quick scan and then go through it again quickly. But I'll look for that Maud Lewis painting, or I'm going to look for something that's really crazy that I just want to have. You know what I mean? And
yeah, so you go through that first quick scan and then you dig.
Yeah, and then I dig.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I scan and then leave.
Yeah, I usually do a scan, which I'm going to pick up stuff for sure, and then I'll start a pile. And then when I go back is when I'm digging.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. Especially if there's a lot of people there. Even if there's not a lot of people. Though, I mean, I say that kind of loosely because sometimes I'll get stuck in a garage because there's like really good stuff. So I'm not going to scan. I'm picking that garage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm going through the house, I will try to scan it. I guess I'm scanning the building that I'm in. If I'm in a garage or shed, I'm going to scan that. If I'm in the house, I'm probably going to scan the main floor, finish that up, or I'll go in the basement, scan that, and then I'll dig through it. Because I'm just thinking the last one I went to, I spent a lot of time in that garage, but I was finding some good stuff. So before I even went in the house. So anyway. But and then I had a whole pile of shit there. And I said, how much you want this for all this stuff? And he goes, $5.
Like, you say no, I know.
I'm like, for all this? And he goes, yeah, just give me $5. I'm like, I'll give you 20. I said, I'll give you 20. I said, there's a lot of stuff here. So, and he just laughed and he looked at his wife or sister. I don't know if it was his wife and his dad or if it was a son and daughter of the guy that they moved out. But anyways, he just looked at her. So, okay. And I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? This is like, come on, or $300, $400 here. I'll give you $20. But anyway.
Okay, so this one's Dawn's.
Okay.
Now, I know Dawn, but like, it's not like I've ever met Dawn or hung out with Dawn's, right? So it's like, this is my impression. This is the quiet by themselves doing their thing reseller. So Dawn isn't now this Dawn, if I'm wrong, I apologize because I don't know. But I have a feeling Dawn picks up a lot of her stuff maybe from Facebook Marketplace, maybe some online auctions, buys magazines, that sort of thing, and quietly does her own thing at home. She cuts up advertising. She does like postcards, all that kind of like less, you know, I'm going to go to the auctions. I'm going to go to all the garage sales. I'm going to, you know, the opposite of like the in your face thrifter. They're just off making money, but doing their thing quietly and not necessarily, you know, trying to stick out. Like, I don't know if that's true. Like, that's my impression of Dawn, but I have met people like that who are doing really well, but are trying to very hard to fly under the radar and do their thing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sounds very like a really nice person.
Yes. Dawn's a really nice person. Hopefully she gets to this part, but she still sucks. Just so everyone knows, Dawn still sucks.
Well, that's a good way to end it here, Carl.
Like, yeah, I think so. We've gone long enough.
Yeah.
Can I just say,
if you guys have any more suggestions or things that you'd like to add to this, leave it in the comments and we'll discuss it next week.
I just want to say 3 more without any explanations. Okay. The arbitrage people, the drop shippers, and the social media sellers who keep track of social media. That's it. Okay. Those are 3 other ones. So,
all right.
Yes, thank you. That was long enough. Our episodes are getting longer, not shorter. I thought it would be a short one. Like,
I know. My God. I think before we started this, we were trying to figure out how long this should go, and you said half an hour.
I know, eh? Oh.
Like it is the way it is. I don't know. It's fun, right? Time flies.
Hey, I didn't even cover everything, so we'll save some for next week. Not for this topic, but what do you have a topic for next week, or are we just going to wing it again?
It's going to be a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for listening. For those who got this far, for sure, and thank you for the comments. And that's it. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Subscribe, tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend.
Leave a comment. We like to read comments. But
excellent.
Yeah, we're here every Friday, Spotify and on YouTube. Reseller Evolution, audio only. So there you go. But all right. Well, have a good week, Carl.
You too.
And have a good week, everyone else. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.